Hey y'all, it's Ashley at the Realm of Kidlit Comics, and as you can see from the title of this video, we are here to do our HRCYED check-in for the month of October. Sorry about the lighting is not going to be the greatest because I am in my room. Y'all know the deal now that I've moved my well, in case you don't know the deal and you haven't been here, I've moved my editing upstairs because I was editing downstairs on our dining room table, but that just felt like a safety hazard. You know, having a kid and liquids and laptops, and it was just like a no-go for me. So I moved everything upstairs, and because part of doing the HRCYED updates is about screen recording, I'm gonna keep it up here, because if I was to do it downstairs, it means I have to unplug, unhook everything, and I just don't want to do it. So we're going to do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this HRCYED document. I have updated the HRCYED document. Surprise, surprise. But October was an interesting month. I ended up actually changing some stuff around. I finished a couple of different things, which I was about to tell you what I finished, and I was like, wait, how about we just do the screen record? And I don't tell y'all exactly what I finished. Okay, we are now recording. I just wanted to say that okay, because it helps me keep my timing correct. Of course, I'm going to be looking down. I should be minimized at this point so that you can see some more of this stuff, closing all this extra stuff out, so we don't have it here, which is fine. Okay, so this is the HRCYED round 2 spreadsheet. This is the beginning. Now I just want to go to the bingo board. Last time we did an update, I did talk about the fact that I had finished the 24-hour readathon, the last 10 years, and the even bigger rainbow, and complete any readathon. I think that was just, you know, those 4 blocks, that was good, because this started in July, and by September I had already finished 4 squares on the block, which for me I feel like is really, really good. This month you can see I finished 2 other blocks, which is the translation challenge and the BIPOC challenge. So we're just going to go through each one of these sections again and kind of take a look. If I haven't changed anything since October or since the last update, I'm not going to spend much time on it, just because it'll be kind of redundant for y'all. If you're interested in seeing the updates for September, I'll make sure that I leave that video down in the card symbol above, or maybe if I can remember to link it. So up in the card symbol. I always forget to do that stuff. Sorry. All right. So scrolling past all of September, October, I had some pretty decent additions. This is not everything that I read in the month of October. The thing about HRCYED, oh gosh, this is not the number of pages. It's not 2,023 pages. I will go back and change that. The thing about HRCYED is that everything that I'm reading for the month does not necessarily count towards what I'm doing for HRCYED. Some stuff is stuff I'm reading for work, reading for my own pleasure, and sometimes, actually more than not, I'm more so just reading and then seeing where things fit. Some of the more challenging prompts, I think I will be reading to the prompt, but for everything else, I'm just kind of going with the flow. Like, so in this instance in October, which I did an entire reading vlog on it, when we get to the translation challenge, I read to the challenge for that one, because I knew that it's not my strongest like asset, reading translated works, and I knew that I was going to have to work a little bit harder to finish that. So with some of these challenges, I may have to work a little bit harder and read to the prompt. Other times, maybe not so much. So I'm up to date with my points calculator. Let's see what the stats. This number is incorrect. The total number of pages is about 2,000 pages off, because I accidentally inputted the year that the book was published into the number of pages. Don't know how I did that, but total number of books is 87, which is good. On average, I spend 4.13, 3.87 so the average, 281.17 is the average number of pages. I have 881 points that I have yet to use, which is it's wild. My most read month is still going to be September. It is what it is right now. The readathon is the prompt that has the highest amount of books still, but we talked about the fact that make your challenge yourself is probably going to be the highest, because my challenge yourself was to read 50 books that came off of my physical TBR. I love looking at these maps, seeing like where I've read like around the world, and then where I've read in the United States. I still love that. I'm shocked that I mean, contemporary is still pretty high when we look at it, but to be honest with you, even with the 20% here, and let's just go ahead and round that up to 10%, 30%, it's only about 35% contemporary, which means that I, once again, because contemporary is easy for me, contemporary is what I do. Like, that's just me. I adore contemporary related things, and so I've been challenging myself this year to step outside of that contemporary phase, and it's been doing me justice. I am still half and half with physical and ebook reading versus audiobook reading. October was a heavy audiobook month for me. November also will probably be a heavy audiobook month for me. December is probably where I will shift back. I'm just thinking about things that I have on my plate for work, things that I have going on at home. It's some months are just going to be heavier than others, and this October was a month where I leaned heavily into audiobooks versus any other format. I still have a lot of series. 45% of the books that I've read that are part of a series are in progress, which is absolutely wild. I'm very interested looking at, I've only done like, I think 2 things as a reread. So for every 10 new books you read, every 10 new books that you read, you can reread a book. And I've been reading nothing but new stuff. And so at this point, I've been able to do rereads. Even if I just read 80 books, I would have 8 rereads as a possibility. And then those points would cover anything else beyond that. But most of what I've been reading has been new stuff, which is great. Interestingly enough, still primarily the audience that I've been reading has been young adult. I still would have expected to be more so middle grade, but for some reason it's definitely more so young adult. And then adult, and then children's is going to be very small. I don't really see myself counting, like most of the children's things that I read, I don't see myself counting them towards this readathon, or this challenge, I should say. I have a good chunk of the books that I've been reading have been published in 2025. So 39, which is about 44.8%. Everything else is backlist. So we're about 50-50 on like 2025 pubs and backlist. And still my most read author is Natsu, who's the mangaka of, is it Natsu? No. Maybe it's Mokomokurin, which is the mangaka of The Summer Hikaru Died, I believe. So, I think that's pretty much the same. Yeah, because Jason Reynolds is at 3 as well. So, I don't know if anybody will beat them out, to be honest with you. We'll see. We'll see how things go and what like content I am producing and reading in November and December. That may change things. All right, let's get into the fun part now. By the 100s, I didn't make any progress. Am I making progress right now? Yes, but I didn't do anything in October to complete that section. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen for me. 24-hour readathon is the one that we already talked about. Subgenres of choice. So last month I talked about completing these 3 sections: fantasy, historical, paranormal. In October I added contemporary, which was Falling Like Leaves. I talked about that a little bit and said that I would have another one to add, right? Because I was reading that in September and finished it in October. So I knew that that was going to be one, and I just have these 2 last prompts that I need to do. I think I can get it done in November. I think November I am doing something completely separate and challenging myself, and so I will keep these 2 sections in mind. I haven't decided what I want it to do with these. I will figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out, and we're gonna get there. I had an idea of like the dark romance, Haunting Adeline. I still may do that. I just need to set aside some time to kind of get through it. Series Staircase, still no progress. I'm not shocked by this because I struggle with series, like finishing series in general. And so this is a big challenge for me. I can say the duology, I finally got my audiobook back of The Last Blood Carver. So I think I'm going to stick with that as being my duology. I still have not made up my mind about the trilogy. I haven't decided, and I haven't read anything that would count towards the trilogy. So that's the part that I think I'm struggling with on that. The 4 or more, I have a lot of options with 4 or more. 4 or more, honestly, one of my goals in my end of year book tag video was to really dive into this next arc of the Warriors. And so I really could use that as the 4 or more. So we'll see what ends up happening. Even if I don't get to the second arc and I'm just reading super editions, that would still be 4 or more, because there's 10 plus super editions that exist, and they're all considered to be a part of a series. So I can't promise you that would be finished by the end of the year, but we'll see what ends up happening. Award season, I did make more progress here. I ended up finishing 2 more books, which The Leaving Room and The Teacher of Nomad Land. Those are both National Book Award finalists. Semi-finalists, I'm still working on that graphic novel, and then I still have to finish To Shape a Dragon's Breath. I'm not sure when they're announcing the winner of the National Book Awards, but I would read one of those books. And then what I'm thinking is that the second winner, I will most likely choose a Goodreads Choice Award book. Since I did do my list of Goodreads Choice Awards, my predictions list last week, I think that I'll choose one of those. But so far, I mean, we're slowly making progress on this. I really wanted to read all of the National Book Awards semifinalists and finalists. Just because I just think it's just good to do so, but we'll see what ends up happening there. TBR Game Challenge, I haven't worked on that at all. We'll see if that happens. I might wait until holiday break to do this one. I think right now I just have too much on my plate. Last 10 Years is one that I had already finished. We know that. Adaptations, all the adaptations. I to be fair, y'all, to be quite honest, like being completely and totally transparent, I'm avoiding this one like the plague. This is going to be the most challenging for me, and I think I said this last time, that this is just the one that I'm just not looking forward to. Like, I don't know what I need to do to motivate myself to get this one done and over with, and just really put myself together when it comes to this, but I don't know. We're gonna have to, I don't know. I'm really truly going to have to think about this one, and probably I need to start doing some plotting down here, some planning, because I think what's challenging for me the most about this specific section is that there's only like a handful of these categories that I can give you off the top of my head, and when I can't really pull things from the top of my head like that, I think I struggle the most. So super unfortunate. Disability challenge, I still haven't made any progress on this, to be honest with you. I didn't read anything in October that would count towards that. Heritage Month, same thing. I didn't read anything that would count towards this prompt in October, but still we're more than halfway done with it. Now, translation challenge, we did end up finishing, which thank goodness. I knew that when I was going into doing my September update, this is one that I wanted to go ahead and complete. And so for the month of October, I ended up reading The Parent Trap, which was originally written in German. I read The Book of Denial, which originally was published in Spanish, and then Seal, which was originally, someone told me how to correctly pronounce that, and I read the comment and I still am not getting it right, which originally was published in French. I did end up checking out the second book of the series just because I was very intrigued about what was going to happen to our main character in this book. So, you know, this is why I like challenges like this, because at the end of the day, it does introduce us to things that maybe we wouldn't necessarily have picked up before, right? Now, I'd seen that book before, but I didn't have as much inclination to pick it up and read it, and so it was great being able to read that book and then be like, oh, you know what? I'm actually curious to know like what's going to happen to this character. And so that was, I mean, it was just awesome. That was just an awesome thing, to be honest with you. I'm very proud of myself because this is one area where I know I can do better. I read diversely, but I also think like part of that component of reading diversity is also reading translated works that come from other countries, right? And I think that that's where I struggle. Anything that comes from America, from a diverse voice, I'm usually good on, especially like in kid and teen lit. But when it comes to picking out those experiences that are from different countries, I'm not as great about that. And so this is good. It does diversify your reading in a certain way, not in the traditional way that I think that we talk about diversity all the time, but I do think it's just like The Parent Trap, for example, was a good example of what Germany was like post World War II, right? Because that's when the book was published. So I feel like that gave us a little bit, more understanding of socially what was going on during that time. All right, I want to make sure I did not skip anything. Yeah, okay. Around the world, I did add The Parent Trap for Europe. I have some, should say, sorry y'all, this is going to bother me. This should say too small Tola. I do have some ideas about what I'm going to do for South America and Africa, although I haven't made a notation here. But I do have ideas for these two. I have a book I'm on hold for Antarctica. It's Australia that I am curious about. And I'm trying to pick books written by authors that are from these continents, and the books take place in these continents as well, right? Not just, I didn't want to just do, it takes place in Australia. Like, I'm going to be looking for a book written by an Australian author, if that even makes any type of sense. All right, on to the Even Bigger Rainbow. I already finished that. We know that. Make a quote. I added one more. This is such a hard quote. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like this, I love this quote: once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Like, but this is low-key kind of hard, and it's not all of the pieces and parts of this that are hard, it's the learn. There are not a lot of books with learn as like a part of the title. It's always learned or learning, just Learn. It's been a horrible experience trying to find books that have learn, but I got a couple in mind, so we're gonna keep going with it. But I did add the Better to Eat with to this section, which technically I could have used for 2 as well, but I wanted to go with You because You also is another one where your options are not as high as you may perceive them to be. So I was glad that I just used it there, because 2, there's a lot of titles with the word 2 in it. Spooky Creatures, I was so hoping to do more in this in October, but unfortunately no progress was made in October for Spooky Creatures. I'm gonna have to get my life together on that one. It's just not a high priority for me, which is horrible, but I'll get it together. Become the Avatar, I added Fire from the Sky, which also I just read that one during the week, because even though I had read the 3 translated books, I was still vlogging that week, and I was like, I can read another book. Like, I set out to read 3 books, I accomplished that, let's add another book in. And so I added in Fire from the Sky, which was great because it counted in 2 prompts, and it's particularly counted in Become the Avatar because for mine, I'm using the word in the title, but ironically in all the books that I have chosen so far, it is both the word and the image. So you could see the air, and a bird in the air means we can still breathe. Fire from the Sky, you can see fire on the bottom, and then Tall Water, you can see water on the cover as well. So kind of like a 2-for-1 special in my selections. Readathon challenge, I already finished. I think I went too far, my friends. Animals, no progress. I made no progress in Animals in October. Unfortunately, it just did not work out that way. So there we are with nothing to add to Animal Friends. The Even Bigger Queer Alphabet, I did add 2 more to this section. Fire in the Sky was perfect for gay, and then CL was great for non-binary agender. So I still have quite a few to complete on this, 5 more to complete on this, but I've done more of the legwork on this one. I think I just took time one day to do legwork, and I think I talked about this last time. All the things that are highlighted in yellow are books that I own, and I'm thinking about that too because my personal challenge is to read 50 books from a TBR. So I'm thinking about how I can use those same books and kind of add them to the other prompts within HRCYED. Okay, so here's where things are different. This is where things are really, really different. Okay, I originally, for the favorite HRCYED 1 prompt, I originally was planning to pick a book that has 3 blurbs, read the book, and then books from the authors that have blurbed the book. So it'd be 4 books. I was having the time of my life. Like, originally I thought I had a book that had 3 blurbs, but then like when I went back and looked, and I believe I did this in the last update, I believe I went and I looked and I was like, I thought this had 3 and then it only ended up having 2, but then maybe I thought because there had like reviews attached to it. I think I was just really confused about what was happening in terms of the blurbs. Then it became this thing where it's like checking these books and seeing it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not. So I decided to go with the alphabet challenge, which is the A to Z challenge, which was part of HRCYED 1. And I'm just going to complete the alphabet. Which seems wild because at the end of the day, I could have read 4 books and now I'm committing myself to reading 26, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal because, as you can see, although it looks like I didn't have a lot in the other prompts, what ended up working in my favor for this month is that a lot of the books that you do not see accounted for in some of the other prompts, I was able to add here. So we've seen the Book of Denial, we've seen Falling Like Leaves, and I think that's it. I think those are the only 2 that you would have seen before this. Legends of Lotus Island. City of Wishes is the title. That's why I was like, why did I put that there? City of Wishes. Of course, the Book of Denial counted for the letter B. Falling Like Leaves was for F. How to Say Cuban You'll See One More Time, I use that for H. Keeper of the Lost Cities, I used for K. Like a Sister, I used for L. The Rise of Neptune, I used for R. Skandar, I used for S. And the Taylors, I used for T. Now, already this month, what is that? I'm trying to, I finished 3 books already this month. And by the time y'all see this, hopefully it will be 4 books that I have finished this month. Because I got a little challenge going on right now. Okay, so already this month I have 1 for D, 1 for G, and I think that's it. Yeah, I have 1 for D and G already this month. So that's good. So we know that, yes, this can be done. All of this can be done. And I went and watched the announcement video for the first HRCYED because I wanted to make sure that authors' names could be counted for the letters. So, because like X, I wanted to see if I could use an author that has a name like X, like Molly X Chang, for example, and that was confirmed. And so I think that this actually, although it's more material for me, it was the easier option. Believe it or not, it was the easier option for me to go with the alphabet than it was for me to do the blurb thing, because it was just, it was not working for me. All right, so I did end up finishing the BIPOC author challenge. I think when we started in October, I had only done 5. I was halfway through because Fitting Indian I read in October. So I have Indian representation with Fitting Indian, Guatemalan representation with Silence Voices, Cuban representation in How to Say Goodbye in Cuban, Thai representation for City of Wishes, and then the teacher of Nomadland is Iranian representation. So that I knew for me was always going to be easy, and it's not me trying to once again brag on myself or anything like that, but I really do read such a wide range of authors. This was always going to be the easiest challenge for me. Outside of maybe a couple other things, BIPOC authors was always going to be easy for me because that's 50% of my reading every single month. And so it was just about plugging in the different representations within these boxes, but it worked out well. New releases, I'm right on track because The Leaving Room I read early, I believe in September. Did I read in September or October? I think I read in October, maybe right before it was released. I can't remember when I read that book. But I did read my October release, which was The Leaving Room. I just have to read my November release, which I'm thinking is going to be the House of Sapphire. I don't even know how to say the name of that book, but the one by Marissa Meyer. I think I'm going to make that my November pick. We'll see what ends up happening, because technically I could say that and this ends up being something completely and totally random. For Challenge Yourself, I added 3 new titles, which is not bad, but it's not great considering that September I think was easier because I read so much stuff that applied to 30 and 30 that made things a little bit easier on me. 3 things is not bad. It's not bad, but I want to do a little bit better. My preference here is to go ahead and close out this entire section going into the month of November. I think this is how long? 3, 6, 9, 10. Yeah, I mean, my preference is to be at 30 by the end of the month, or be at 20 by the end of the month, excuse me, and hopefully have this closed up and finished and done with by, because if I do, thinking on average, even if I give myself 5 a month, we're talking November, December, January, February, March, April. So maybe till April, but we never know, because knowing me, that can change so easily. For the nonfiction challenge, I added another title for Social Side. This is Everything I Learned About Racism I Learned in School by Tiffany Jewell. It took me a very, very long time to read this book because this book was very triggering for me. It was a lot of experiences that students and the author shared in this book that I had growing up and not understanding what was happening because you're young and you are impressionable and you're naive to the workings of the world, and seeing some of the things that I went through kind of play back and now through a different lens as an adult, it's not always easy to come to term with those things. I do have 2 other nonfictions. I mean, it's Nonfiction November. I have 2 things in mind that I want to add to this, but I'm kind of waffling back and forth here. We'll see how it goes. And then I still haven't done Q's recommendations. That's the last thing. So not bad, y'all. I mean, to be honest with you, to be in the month of November and I have closed out 2 other squares on the bingo board, I'm hoping to knock out another 2. I think the easiest ones that I will be able to knock out this month are going to be Become the Avatar, because I'm so far into that one, and possibly the maybe the Heritage Month. I think that those will be the easiest between Become the Avatar, Heritage Month, and a nonfiction challenge. I think those are going to be the 3 that are going to be the strong contenders for the end of November. But that is it for me. I should probably stop the recording. Yeah. All right, y'all, so that is it for me. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I should probably say, hold up, if you participated in HRCYED, let me know in the comments down below if you're participating. Let me know what your updates are and how things are going for you, and how much progress you made, etc. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're interested in supporting this channel or following me on social media, all the links will be down in the description box below, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.